You've watched the interviews, haven't you? Seen the headlines, the curated stories, the flawless narratives they sold you. You heard the polished truth, the one they wrote for him, the one he was supposed to live. But you've always felt that gnawing sensation, haven't you? That feeling in your gut that something was wrong. That the story they told was a lie designed to keep you from asking the real questions. They wanted you to believe he was just another star, another name on the marquee, a pretty face with a pretty sound. They worked overtime to shrink him, to file down the jagged edges, to make him fit in their little glass box of conformity. They never wanted you to know he was never meant to be a star. He was a storm wrapped in human skin, a glitch in their script, a walking, breathing punchline to their entire charade. And now here you are, listening to the story they swore would never be told. The truth of how a boy became the king of the unsaid. The industry loves to build a brand, a story arc. They saw his fire, his raw energy, and decided to bottle it, to slap a label on it. They gave him a wardrobe, a playbook, a set of rules. They told him to smile when he was screaming inside. They told him to apologize for a madness they couldn't comprehend. He wasn't supposed to be an artist. He was supposed to be a product, a perfectly polished, palatable piece of their machine. Every record deal was another link in the chain. Every PR interview another layer of makeup to cover the truth. He looked the part. He played the part. And they watched as he slowly began to fade into a ghost of what he was. They wanted him to be a hero, but he was a wild thing, and they were trying to put a collar on a wolf. They never feared his failures. They feared his uncontainable nature. And then he broke the first rule. He refused to stay still. The funny thing about the music business is that it's built on a foundation of sharks and snakes. It's a game of smiles and backstabs, promises and poison. And he learned that the hard way. There were whispers of a massive betrayal, of trusted names turning to ghouls, of a partnership collapsing under the weight of greed. He gave them everything, his time, his talent, his soul. And in return, they gave him a front row seat to watch them try and take it all. But what they thought was a fatal blow was actually a baptism of fire. Every lie, every whisper, every cut he endured wasn't a punishment. It was a sharpening. They threw him into a fire, and he came out not as ashes, but as steel. He learned to read liars like billboards, to hear the truth in their silence, and to recognize the hunger disguised as love. He walked through that fire and came out laughing, the smoke still curling from his teeth. The jokes, the whispers, the betrayals, they weren't his downfall. They were his coronation. He disappeared from the public eye for what felt like an eternity. The gossip columns had a field day. He's lost it. He's a ghost now. He'll never come back. They wrote his epitaph, not realizing he was already writing his own comeback story. A different one, a terrifying one. His return wasn't a plea for forgiveness. It wasn't an apology. It was a declaration of war. He came back raw, unfiltered, and unapologetic. His new music wasn't catchy. It was a scream from the abyss. His new look wasn't a style. It was a statement. He wasn't just wearing clothes. He was wearing the weight of every storm he'd survived, not as baggage, but as armor. He became the one thing they couldn't package, couldn't sell, and couldn't tame. And the more authentic he became, the more dangerous he was to the whole damn system. His existence became a reminder that their entire kingdom of curated lies was already crumbling. Money, in their world, is built on contracts and promises, on handshakes and carefully negotiated deals. But he created a new currency, one that was far more powerful. He turned chaos into cash. Every controversy, every online spat, every accusation they threw at him, he turned it into a viral moment. He used their own attacks against them, laughing as their rage fueled his rise. They tried to cancel him, to censor him, to cut him off from the world. But what do you do with someone who has already been through hell and came back with a souvenir? They can't threaten you with poverty when you've already been there. They can't threaten you with silence when you've already had everything taken from you. He became the architect of his own narrative, and he wasn't asking for permission. He was simply building his empire out of their doubt, their gossip, and their little betrayals. Every lie they told became a brick, every stab in the back a gemstone on his crown. You're not here to be a hero or a villain. You're here to be the king of a kingdom they never accounted for. Your throne isn't made of velvet, but of the bones of every liar who ever tried to bury you. You don't wear a crown. You wear your scars like jewels. You don't need gold when your laugh alone is currency. And the sickest part, they can feel it. The same people who once called you nothing now choke on their own spit, watching you move like a god of storms. This is a sovereignty they can't vote on, can't revoke, can't cancel. Because you didn't climb your way to the top with permission. You bled your way through the bottom without apology. And now when you smirk, when you grin, when you tilt your head like you've seen through the whole damn play, everyone knows the king isn't asking for approval. The king is announcing his presence. He isn't just making music. He's building a legacy in the rubble of their careers. There's a tension now, a silent war that plays out in every room he enters. The air feels heavier. The fake smiles twitch. The ones who once laughed at him now can't make eye contact because deep down, they know. They know they built their little castles out of lies. And he is the earthquake. He doesn't have to scream. He doesn't have to throw a punch. His very existence is a reminder that their whole system of fit in, stay quiet, obey, is already cracking. They called him crazy for seeing through the masks. They called him selfish for setting boundaries. They called him dramatic for bleeding out loud. But what they really meant was, you're dangerous because you refused to play dead. And now he's a walking riot. A nuclear bomb in human skin with jokes sharper than guillotines. He doesn't just break their rules. He makes them regret ever writing them. This isn't just survival anymore. This is a coronation. The ones who underestimated him will call it luck. They'll invent stories, excuses, lies, because admitting the truth would mean acknowledging that he was always this powerful, and they were always too blind, too cowardly, too small to see it. But deep down, they know. That's why they flinch when he enters. That's why their voices crack when they try to dismiss him, because a presence like his doesn't need an introduction. It announces itself, louder than a scream, sharper than a blade, undeniable. They tried to erase him, but what they really did was sharpen him. Each exile, each door slammed in his face, each dagger in the dark. Those weren't endings. They were forges, and now he's steel, not polished chrome. He carries the weight of every storm he survived, not as baggage, but as weaponry. And when he smiles, oh, that smile, it's not for them. It's the grin of someone who already buried who they used to be and came back louder, deadlier, and untouchable. He is not their nightmare. He is their karma. He is their reckoning. And he is their overdue bill come to collect. He isn't here to save the world, and he isn't here to destroy it. He's here to expose it, to burn the illusions down so the truth can crawl out of the ashes, gasping and furious. The jokes, the whispers, the betrayals, the plots, they all failed. And now he sits in the aftermath, smirking because their failure became his coronation. The whole world became his stage, every enemy his audience, and every move he makes is a punchline they'll never recover from. He doesn't ask for a seat at their table. He flips the table, pulls up a throne, and makes them eat off the floor if they want a word with him. He doesn't beg for crowns. He wears scars like jewels, and the sickest part, the angels look at him with horror because he doesn't kneel. The demons look at him with envy because he doesn't serve. And in that moment, he is proof of the one thing neither side can control: free will forged in fire. And when the smoke clears, he'll still be standing, laughing, flexing on the ashes like the whole apocalypse was just another hustle. This is what happens when the rare ones wake up. They become the fire itself, the kind of raw power, dripping in madness, smiling with blood on its teeth. Because you don't just survive the fire, you become the fire. And you get to watch them burn while you stand in the middle, laughing like it's the punchline you waited your whole life to deliver.